Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for August 19th through 22nd, 2022. Wow, what an intense time we've been living in. Have you been feeling it? Massive energetic upgrades. Really powerful time, and there's a shift going on. Right now, what we're feeling is Venus in trine to Jupiter. So beautiful. This peaks out yesterday, and it's about expanding into our confidence to express the light, the true light of who we are. And even though for most supernova souls, it probably feels like your life has gone totally off the rails and you have no idea what's going on or how to move from where you're at, you are gaining confidence in living and breathing your truth. And that's all that matters. And it's kind of like this light breaking through all of the drama that's going on and being like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing here. And maybe that's a good energy for us to redirect our course, because everything in the astrology in this next week or so is about a shift and a change into the next chapter. It's like we've had this massive activation of Uranus North Node opposite the South Node, and then Mars crossed over, activating higher frequency vibrations, the embodiment of higher frequency vibrations. And this has the energy of timeline, activation of higher timelines, more appropriate timeline energies trying to snap back into place in our life. So it's been this huge kind of cooker that we've been in. And now Uranus is getting ready to turn retrograde next week. And so that's it's like a kind of, wait a minute, hold on. Now we need to adjust to these frequencies. It's almost like with events of the world, and there's been a long-term agenda by the dark side of manipulative forces that have sought to disrupt our timelines and get us distracted and stuck in fear and trauma. And it's like that tried to happen over these last couple of years, starting in 2019, 2020. And now we're playing catch up. And it's pretty powerful because you may have experiences where it's like bam, 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 all over the place, very dynamic. And it's kind of trying to get us up to speed back to where we should be. And that's the zigs and the zags and the front and the back and a roundabout. Very, very confusing. Now we're going to have a peak out of this confusing energy this weekend because we have Mercury tomorrow, or on actually Sunday, Monday, in exact opposition to Neptune. So Mercury now in Virgo, and Mercury is a ruler of Virgo, very powerful placement. Mercury is our everyday mind. Mercury is the messenger. Mercury is the in-between between the bigger forces of the backdrop of our, generational changes and influences of the bigger, slower planets. And Mercury is the one that translates this information to us into our daily life. Mercury wants to make sense of things, especially in Virgo. It's like, clean it up, make it make sense. Oh, no. There's a stop making sense. So, because Mercury, Neptune is the bigger subconscious energies and the subconscious and superconscious. And so it's that collective energy. And in this case, the whole deal that we're trying to break from the Piscean age, the patterns have to do with using that collective consciousness to create groupthink and control humanity and hold them back in their evolution. So when Mercury and Neptune and Pisces representing these concepts of the power of consciousness and group consciousness and controlled group consciousness. So this is telling us that this time and this transit is saying, now we've got to break free from that group consciousness of limitation, restriction, fear, and trauma if we're ever going to evolve. And so no wonder the forces are trying to create more and more fear and trauma, but it's getting to be a joke almost, a reality. And so everything is saying, supernova souls, this means that it's time for you to own it and to claim it and stop going along with the dictates of the people around you, the media, the programming, and be right here, right now, in the truth of that dream, of why you're here, why you even bothered coming to this planet, going through this whole experience. It's just like the truth of the light. It's like your dream, that dream is this truth of the light that you are. And so all the astrology together is kind of inviting us out of our shell and back into expression of who we really are. So this Mercury opposite Neptune is going to be peeking out over the next few days and challenging our mind. Maybe a flare-up of programming, a recognition of the patterns that we think we're free, but we're still letting that conditioning control us and own us and direct our reality. So look for that and go ahead and go into the confusion. It's almost like if we resist the confusion, we go into cognitive dissonance. And it might be that we need to go to the magical place that's in between all possibilities. It's in between time. This is definitely the energy of this time we're in right now, because we've gotten the message that the real timeline activation and anchoring in and leap off into a whole new timeline really isn't until December. But this Uranus North Node, opposite South Node, Mars coming in, and all this astrology, it's like we're in boot camp right now, and it's like, are you going to take that big hairpin turn that's coming, that's taking you to that life that you knew was possible? Are you going to be there at the corner at the right time? And so this astrology is, up till then, is about, it's like all these little adjustments, and it might be that playing catch up. It might be the zigs and the zags, it might be going around about, might be going down to some very deep, dark, scary places in our consciousness. This is huge coming up for supernova souls, and it's going to peak out at the end of the month. Because we've got this square with Black Moon Lilith and Chiron, and Black Moon Lilith in Cancer, our deepest, darkest secrets and wounds and shame around the mother, feeling safe and at home, held and loved and cared for. Most supernova souls feel more persecuted and abused in this reality. And we've got to flip that shit around. So because of who you are as a supernova soul and your light and what you're here for, and you've gone through some shit. Earth school's rough, especially for you, those of us that are here to lead the way out of this trap. No pressure. But most supernova souls have deep, dark from past lives, and that often replayed in your early childhood, and situations that have caused great pain. And that's all part of the programming to keep us in the trauma mindset, keep us waiting for the next tragedy. Because in that place, that's what we're creating, because we're very powerful creators. And so do you see the trap we're in? Now we have to look at this trap every moment, day to day, because they're trying to pull us into a vibration that no longer fits. And it's not who we are. And so, but it's like with everything you've gone through as a soul, that's because you're a badass. And it's time to like own it and claim this strength and this power within you. You didn't go through that just because that's what you deserve. You went through that because the mechanisms of this world is about limiting and trying to hold back spiritual evolution, which ultimately backfires. And that's exactly where we are in catch-up. And you're part of the catch-up team, the boots on the ground. That means you need to be willing to shift and change before anybody else in your life. Oh, is that what's going on? And then this is why we're having this bloom of karmic relationships where energies are like, no, 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 you're not supposed to. You're supposed to stay here with us. And it's like, no, no, I'm here to lead the way. Do you remember how weird you called me and crazy? You know, and now you don't want to let me go. So we have to, though, with this black moon Lilith square Chiron. Chiron is our deepest wounds, and Aries, that's about where we've given our power and our life force away. Exactly what happened in this evolution. We got manipulated through groupthink. We got infected with programming of fear and trauma and started creating, you know, being a part of creating their reality they want us to create. And now we got to crawl ourselves out of this hole. But in order to get out of this hole, you might have to go deeper into this hole, because most supernova souls have been in so much trauma on a deep subconscious level from past lives and this life triggering it constantly, that it's like there's this monster in the room. You know, it might be that grief, that loss, that abandonment, that alone, the way we've all felt being on this planet with nobody and nothing to help us, it feels like. So supernova souls have often been running and trying to fill this hole of this empty void within them. And we can't do that anymore. The message of this Black Moon Lilith square Chiron is that we cannot shift into this new paradigm if we're going to hold on to any of that programming, that deep, dark fear, trauma programming. And so that lost, alone feeling is actually that. And you're going to keep getting triggered back there until it's resolved. And this is where we're being asked to connect with each other energetically and step into this shadow darkness, because we have to clear and heal that vibration that doesn't fit who we are. It's never fit who we are. But it's up to us to claim it. You know, it's like the control energies aren't going to be like, oh, honey, you've gone through enough. Here you go. Here's your power back. No, it's not going to happen. You stand up and you say, no, that's mine. It's under my control now. This is the shift into the Aquarian age, is sovereignty and autonomy. So no wonder we're dealing with this in our relationships everywhere around us. And then that deep feeling of just being abandoned and alone, because Aries, the wounds of Aries, this Chiron and Aries, the wounds of losing your life force, the Aries has this energy of wanting to be independent and free and follow their own will. And a very important energy for us right now, because we've gotten really far away from our own ability to direct our lives. But when you choose your own way, and you go against the grain, then, you know, you're exiled and you're not a part of the tribe anymore. And you broke the rules. We're all rule breakers, apparently. Just us being here right now is breaking the rules, you know, and now it's time for us to own that. So the deal is this Black Moon Lilith square Chiron is like, you know, that thing you've been running from, that elephant in the room that you've compensated down to one little toxic poison place. Get rid of it. Go there. Be there. Feel those feelings. Face it. Be present with it. Know your supernova tribes all doing it together right now. And that peaks out the 28th through the 5th of September. So it takes us through Labor Day. And we're already feeling this Black Moon Lilith square Chiron. So it's going to be a couple of weeks of this journey into the deepest darks. But these deepest darks, it's like shame. It's like shame energy, where our low self-worth as supernova souls, and we've got to clean it up. And so that's pretty powerful. But right now we have Venus in trine to Jupiter, beautiful fire trine about this possibilities of claiming back our energy and power. Then next week, Venus is going to come into a trine, another fire trine with Chiron. So Venus in a sweet trine, Venus in Leo, about expressing the light of who we are again, instead of hiding and playing small. You know, it's like, maybe that's like, yeah, that sounds good. We should do that. But how are you going to do that when you're in trauma programming? And that light, that you express your light and the program says they're coming for you now. Turn that shit down. So That's where the programming lies, deep, deep, deep in our subconscious. And that's the power of this transit. It's not fun and it's not pretty, but it's like, aren't you finally ready to be free of these monsters that have no resonance? So we got ancestral energies, we got this past life programming, it's all designed to keep you in that lower vibrational field. So it's powerful because it's like we've got that square, but Venus coming into trine with Chiron next week is going to be harmonizing and supporting and showing us that it's worth it to go on this journey because we are claiming back our treasures and our light. So we also have Mercury coming into a trine with Pluto. And so we also have Earth Trine energy. And Mercury Pluto is going to be exact next week. And we're already starting to feel that this weekend too. So really sweet because we've got 2 fire trine, Venus fire trine with Jupiter, then moves right into a fire trine with Chiron, and Mercury trine Pluto, bringing us this Earth energy. Mars, it wasn't too long, it was last week, Mars was in trine with Pluto. So we've got some stabilizing Earth trines to help us. So all the message right now, and this has to do with Uranus turning direct next week. So, it's really all about this timeline activation, Uranus North Node, that we've been going through. And now that Uranus is turning retrograde, it's slowing down this process. It's saying, okay, that was we just got electromagnetic shock from the universe for the last few weeks. Now we need to figure out what in the heck that means for our life and begin making changes that, but it's really all about claiming in the moment this dream and this reality. So this next chapter is about adjusting to this massive upgrade we've just gone through. And it feels like now, because what's happening, the big shift of energy that we're going to feel is Uranus turning retrograde, but also Mars is at the end degrees of Taurus now. And so this is where we're feeling the beautiful fire trine and Mars at the end degrees of Taurus, because Taurus rules our self-worth and confidence to own our gifts and skills. And so Mars there at the end degrees of Taurus is like, did you get this? Are you getting this? Are you finding the strength to uncover your beautiful intuitive gifts and skills and own it and feel safe in those higher frequency vibrations? So Mars is like, it's a culmination type energy because Mars has activated that Uranus North Node. Now Mars is moving over into Gemini, and that's going to happen on Sunday. And right after that, the sun moves over into Virgo. So now it's interesting because we've had all of these fixed squares of all these planets in fixed signs, but Mars and the sun never came into square until now that they will have moved over into mutable signs. So this is a very powerful message for us. Uranus turning retrograde, okay, time to adjust. And we've got Sun square Mars, a culmination energy of all these fixed squares about anchoring in a new reality, but now in mutable signs. So they don't come into square till 4 degrees of these signs. 4 is about 4 walls and creating a new structure. So it's interesting because we still have the energy of that fixed in a way, the fixed signs of establishing, but these are immutable signs. So we are adjusting to a new establishment. And so with the sun in Virgo and Mars in Gemini, we're looking at the adjustment is around cleaning up our act and coming into our voice. And it definitely feels like with Mars involved, it's always action. Both the sun and Mars have action energy, actually. So the square of action planets in mutable signs is speaking to adjustments that need to be made, life adjustments to fit our higher frequency vibration. And how do we do this? We simply claim that vibration every moment of every day. This is the power. There's this confusing element of the Mercury opposite Neptune, But there's also a power in this because it's the Neptune, Mercury, Neptune, when they interact, it's like our everyday reality and the bigger subconscious and superconscious energies and collective energies. So it's an opportunity to connect to these things, especially in opposition. Opposition is like tension, tension, tension. And then when they're directly opposite, there's a mutual receptivity. So that means we can receive the dream, our own dream, into our everyday life. And it's also an opportunity to break the programming that's been keeping us from anchoring into these higher frequency vibrations. So this next chapter is about adjusting, and how we do this is by claiming every moment of every day the dream of what it is we're here to do, and not feed and not be a part of and not partake and participate in that bullshit. And of course, as I say that, I can see a bloom of energies that will come at you and try to keep you there. And so it's moment to moment, day to day. And we are taking action, but we're confused as to where to go. And the action we're taking is claiming the moment and the dream and our power and our light and our truth. They're the same exact thing. Like, so our highest timeline is actually really in alignment with this bigger self, this bigger spiritual self. From the beginning in the supernova story, we've gotten the message that there's a bigger part of you that hasn't been able to fully land here. And that's a huge message coming in right now too. It's like landing these timelines, and it's interesting because how we land the timeline is actually by allowing ourselves to be in the vibration of that timeline. Then the changes that need to happen in our lives will unfold. And just bring your attention back to this vibration with every choice that you go to make. Is it programming? I mean, it's kind of a black and white thing right now. It's like programming, distraction, the dream, the truth. Programming, distraction, the light of who I really am, and just bring your attention back there and let that be your course and set your course for the changes that need to be made from that presence and that peace. Supernova souls, you are amazing, going through all you've gone through, and you haven't even really gotten started playing the role that you're here to play in this very exciting time of spiritual evolution on Earth. We've been waiting a long time for this, and we have gone to hell and back, and it's time to land heaven. And so keep up the good work. So much love to you. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.